Hey everyone, welcome back to NEKAD, the podcast where four IPMI students try to sound professionals but usually end up arguing about snacks in the studio. My name is Fauzan.
And I'm Adila, the only woman in this team of three guys who think gender equality means taking turns paying for coffee.
And then I'm Wahyu. My mom always taught me support women. So today I have carried a chair to the studio. My work here is done.
And I'm Ferlan, the group unofficial philosopher. I'm here to ask deep questions like if gender equality is real, who gets the last piece of pizza during overtime?
Together, we are NEKAD, Ngobrol Edukatif, Kadang absurd. Basically, we try to sound smart with a little twist.
And this episode is extra special. It's our final project for Professor Leonnard Ong class. Thank you, Prof, for letting us turn this into a podcast instead of another 16-slide presentation.
Yes, Prof. Thank you for believing in us. Even though the last time we collaborated, we spent an hour arguing about Tong Call.
Today's topic is big one. Is gender equality beneficial? We are focusing on the workplace because let's be honest, that's where equality look perfect in poster, but very confusing in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Some companies say we empower women, but still ask the only female manager to organize the farewell party.
We'll unpack how equality plays out in Indonesian offices, the challenges, the funny contradictions, and why it matters. We've also got a short voice clips from two Gen Z professionals we interviewed earlier, Dinda, who works in HR, and Raka, a creative intern. They'll share what gender equality really looks like in the workplace.
And throughout this episode, we'll connect everything to what we learned in class. Verbal message and listening. Because sometimes the problem isn't the policy. It's how we talk, how we listen, and how we make each other feel heard.
So grab your coffee, brew fairly by whoever who close to the machine, and let's get into it. Is gender equality really beneficial in the workplace?
All right, before we get too dramatic, let's lay down the facts. When we say gender equality in the workplace, most people think salary or promotions, but it's much more than that. Isn't that right, everyone?
Exactly. It's also about who get heard, who gets credit, and also who feels respected. If we look to the numbers, BPS 2024 shows women make up 53% of Indonesia workforce, but only around 20% of the leadership roles. So there's a clear gap between participation and power.
Right. It's like there's equality in attendance, but inequality in decisions making. You'll see women everywhere in the office, from the HR, marketing, finance. But when it comes to boardrooms, suddenly the gender ratio looks like a football team.
And that's what makes communication so important. Remember from verbal message class, meaning is in people, not in words. Companies love to use word equality, but the interpretation depends on who's speaking. For some, it means equal pay. For others, it's just equal parking spot.
Or maybe equal numbers of posters saying, "We support women."
Yeah, it's not about slogan. It's about listening. And according to our listening module, there are 5 stages of listening, which is receiving, understanding, remembering, evaluating, and also responding. Most workplaces stop at stage 1. They receive information, but they don't understand it.
That's true. They treat gender feedback like an email spam. They read the subject line and hit the archive button.
And when companies actually listen, productivity goes up, creativity improve, and employees stay longer. That's when gender equality became more than a policy, it became performance.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, listening isn't just a communication skill, it's a leadership skill.
Okay, theory aside, let's talk about what actually happened in the real world. I've noticed in meetings when a moment share an idea, sometimes people just pause, no reaction. But when a guy says the exact same thing later, everyone likes, wow, that's a brilliant.
Yes, that's not coincidence. That's a pattern. And it has a name. It's called mansplaining. That's when a man explains something to a woman in a way that assumes she doesn't know it, even when she clearly does.
Yeah, like when I try explaining female consumer behavior to my mom, she just looked at me and said, son, I'm the consumer behavior.
Exactly. Mansplaining isn't about being mean, it's about awareness. When someone constantly interrupts or represses your point louder, it's not collaboration, it's a disconfirmation. In Prof. Leonnard's term, it's communication that ignore rather than acknowledge another person's input.
Oh, that makes sense. So, mansplaining is basically when listening become competition.
Perfect definition. And workplaces are full of it. Not always intentional, but definitely habitual.
Oh, it's ironic because companies say we empower women, but then only men speak at the woman in leadership seminar.
Yeah, that's actually happened. And the speaker start with, as a man, I understand women's struggle. I was like, do you too?
There's a difference between empathy and performance. Saying I understand isn't the same as showing you actually do.
Yeah, exactly. Equality in the workplace isn't about giving speeches. It's about giving space.
All right, I think we warm up. Next, we'll talk about why gender equality actually matter, not just for fairness, but for the bottom line. Alright, let's be real. Some people still ask, why do we even need gender equality at work? Isn't it already fine?
Yeah, that we treat everyone the same. Sounds nice, but in practice, it usually means we haven't looked at closely enough.
Exactly. Because if you look around, you'll notice that women are often in support roles, not decision-making ones. It's like they're all allowed to drive the car but not touching the steering wheel.
And that imbalance has consequences. Research from McKinsey 2024 found that companies with gender diverse leadership perform up to 25% better financially. So equality is not just a feel-good idea, it's a business advantage.
Wait. So you say the more women in leadership, the better the profits?
Exactly. It's not a magic, it's a logic. More perspective means smarter decision, fewer blind spots, and better problem solving.
And yet, some guys still think diversity means adding one woman to the team photos.
Yeah. Tokenism is at its finest. Look, we have one woman, our gender KPI is complete.
But gender equality isn't about numbers, it's about narrative. It's about who get listened to when decisions are made.
Yeah, that's deep, man. You're learning.
Thanks. I've been actively listening. Prof. Ong would be proud of me.
Yeah. It's also connect to what he said in our listening module. Listening is not passive, it's participatory. True equality means everyone get fair shot at being understood, not just here.
So maybe the question is gender equality beneficial? But how much are we losing by ignoring it?
Exactly. And right now, a lot of workplace are losing talent, creativity, and engagement just because they still operate like 1995.
Yep. They say we want innovation, but then people to stay in the land.
Okay, Bu Ketua, let's break it down. Why is gender equality actually beneficial? I mean, beyond fairness, what's the real payoff?
Okay. Well, first, it changes workplace dynamic. When men and women collaborate as equal, you get more empathy in decision making. And empathy improves leaders, teamwork, and even customer satisfaction.
That's true. It's like having both logic and also intuitions in the same room. Together, it balances strategy and also sensitivity. One sees numbers and the other sees nuances.
Exactly. It's like Excel meets emotional intelligence.
I like that. And honestly, gender equality benefits men too. When workplaces are more inclusive, men can be more expressive, more collaborative, and maybe finally take paternity leave without being judged.
Yes, and that's part of equality too, allowing men to be caregiver and not just breadwinners. Equality isn't woman rise, man fall. It's everyone rising together.
Oh, that's beautifully said. Can we print that on a mug?
Go ahead, just make sure you wash it yourself.
Touche.
Also, in workplace, with gender equality, employees report higher trust and engagement. When people feel heard and valued, they give more. It's not feminist, it's human resource optimization.
You just made equality sounds like a KPI.
It kind of it, because the return of equality is retention, innovation, and morale.
So, to summarize, gender equality isn't just ethical, it's efficient. It's not just the right things to do, it's the smart things to do.
Yeah, exactly. And the day companies truly realize that we won't need Women's Day poster anymore, the culture itself will speak for equality.
Okay, coming up next, we'll hear what our Gen Z interviews, Dinda and Raka, have to say about gender equality in their workplace. Their experiences might surprise you. To see how gender equality plays out beyond theories and data, we spoke with two Gen Z professionals who's just entered the corporate world. First up, Dinda, 23, a junior HR officer at a tech startup in Jakarta.
In my office, women get promoted for performance, but men get noticed for potential. Sometimes, I feel like I have to prove twice just to be seen once.
Wow, that hits hard. Promoted for performance, noticed for potential. That one sentence sums up half of corporate life.
Yeah, it's like the invisible KPI, confidence. Some guy talk like they already got the job and boom, they do.
Exactly. And women often get told, you're great, but not ready yet. Translation, you are ready, but we're not ready for you.
That line belongs on t-shirt. But seriously, that's what Prof. Ong means in verbal message. How words can confirm or disconfirm. A simple press like not yet ready, disconfirm capability.
Yes, language creates perception. If a man says, I can try, people hear confidence. When a woman says, I can try, they hear doubt.
It's like WordPress karaoke, same song, different mic volume.
And that's why listening matters. Active listening means evaluating without bias. In Dinda's case, HR and manager need to hear performance, not just personality.
Totally. Equality fails when attention isn't equally distributed.
Okay, let's hear our second voices comes from Raka, a 22 years old creative intern at a media agency in Bandung.
We talk a lot about gender equality at work, but when ideas come up in meetings, women's or suggestions still overlooked. Until a guy repeats them, I don't think it's intentional, it's habit.
There it is again, habit, that repeating pattern we joked about earlier.
Yeah, classic case of selecting listening. In the listening module, Prof. Ong said, we often listen to reply, but not to understand.
Right, we filter ideas based on who says them, not what's being said.
It's hierarchy disguised as collaboration. When men unconsciously echo woman's idea and get credit, it's not just poor etiquette, it's institutional noise.
Institutional noise, I like that. Sounds like something you cannot fix with noise-canceling headphones.
If only, but to be fair, Raka's honesty is refreshing. He recognized the bias without getting defense. That's a progress.
Exactly. Admitting bias is the first step to equality. Pretending it doesn't exist keep you stuck.
And it ties back to confirmation again. Acknowledging another person's contribution validates them. Without that, communication breaks trust.
So, Dinda and Raka's experience show the same problem from both sides. Women fighting to be heard and men slowly realizing they've been talking over them.
Maybe equality begins when people learn to pass the mic, not grab it.
Well said. Coming up, we'll explore how communication style, power, and perception shape all of this. Why sometimes the same message gets too complicated in different reactions. Alright, after hearing Dinda and Raka, I kept thinking, sometimes equality isn't blocked by policy, it's blocked by tone.
Yeah, exactly. Communication style can totally change how people perceive authority. For example, when a woman gives direct feedback, it's called aggressive, but when a man does, it's called leadership.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Same sentences, but different gender, different headline.
Yeah, that's the double bind. If you are too polite, you are weak. If you are too assertive, you are intimidating. Meanwhile, guys can walk into a meeting like, let's get this done, and everyone claps.
So, equality isn't just about opportunity. It's about interpretations. Remember, in verbal message, when Prof. Ong talked about politeness theory, women often use positive face language, collaborative, relationals, while men use negative face, which is language focused on independence and task.
Yeah. It's not wrong, it's cultural, but when only one style is rewarded, the system becomes biases.
I've seen that happen. A female colleague once said to me, I think this strategy might work. The boss said she sounded unsure. 2 minutes later, a guy said, this strategy will work. Same idea, different energy. Guess who got the credit?
Yeah. Classic case of tone privilege. Sometimes confidence sells better than content.
Which proof gender equality needs communications equality. People should evaluate idea, not the intonation.
Amen to that. If workplace started judging based on contribution instead of communication style, we'll all win.
You know what? Maybe equality starts when meeting sounds less like a boxing match and more like a duet.
Perfect. As long as it's not karaoke again, because some men still think let it go is a motivational speech.
So, communication, power, perception, all fancy words. But at work, it's basically about who gets the intro boom.
True. And interruption is power. Men interrupt more often, not always to be rude, but to dominate the rhythm of conversation. It's what linguists call conversation control.
That makes sense. I interrupt my boss all the time, but in my head.
Smart move, Cak. But seriously, interruption reflects status. That's why equality must include equal conversation space.
Sometimes men mistake silence for agreement. Like when a woman doesn't respond immediately, we think she's fine with it. Meanwhile, she's silently planning a resignation letter.
That's where active listening comes in. The fifth stage of Prof. Ong mentioned responding. Without genuine response, communication is incomplete.
So, listening is power too. Whoever listens better, leads better.
Exactly. Gender equality flips the old rule. Leadership isn't about who speak loudest, it's about who listen longest.
Nice. So, I'm gonna put that in my LinkedIn bio. Professional listener, part-time talker.
Okay. Also, perception bias plays a role. Studies show that when men show emotion, it's called authentic. When women do, it's too emotional. That's why awareness training is crucial.
Yeah, it's like how in Indonesia, when a woman are passionate in a meeting, someone always says, wow, galak ya. But if man does it, he has a leadership aura.
Correct. Those small phrases create cultural barriers. They are not harmless jokes. They are messaging, shaping perception.
So communication isn't neutral. It carries bias. And until we fix that, gender equality will stay half mute.
Beautiful said, bro. For someone who started this podcast bragging about carrying a chair, you've evolved.
Hey, progress is progress. I carry the chair, now I carry the message.
All right, coming up next, we tackle the $1,000,000 question. Is gender equality really beneficial or just another corporate buzzword?
Alright, we've danced around long enough. Let's hit the main question. Is gender equality actually beneficial?
Short answer is yes. Long answer also yes, but not for the reason people usually think.
Go on, philosopher.
Okay. Gender equality is not moral favor, it's a strategic advantage. Companies that treat equality as a checklist miss the point. Equality fuels innovation because diverse teams challenge the same old thinking.
Exactly. Even McKinsey found that gender diverse companies outperforms others by up to 25%. But you don't even need statistics to see it. Just walk into a team meeting. When people with different perspectives brainstorms, ideas get shapers.
And conflict too, but the good kind, constructive disagreement, drives growth. Equality does not erase differences, it puts them to work.
That's actually deep. And from a leadership point of view, equality builds trust. So when employees see fairness, they give loyalty. It's not a rocket science, it's reciprocity.
Right, the listening module taught us that empathy creates influence. Leaders who listen across gender lines build stronger teams.
Exactly, because when everyone feels heard, everyone's perform better. Equality benefits both the balance sheet and the heartbeat of the organization.
I'm gonna play a devil's advocate for a second. Some people say gender equality makes this complicated. That is slow decision making. Like we used to be fast, now we have to be fair.
Yes, that classic fairness takes too long excuse. You know, what else takes long? Cleaning up after bad decision made by people who never list in the first place.
That's it. But really, I think that fear comes from misunderstanding. Equality doesn't slow things down, it just adds more voice. It's like having surround sound instead of momo.
Exactly. And those extra voices catch mistake early. If a team of all men design an app and forgets to test it on a woman, that's not efficiency, that's tunnel vision.
Yeah. Or like creating a unisex office uniform that mysteriously looks perfect only on men.
See, that's why gender equality is beneficial. It's preventive maintenance for bad ideas.
I like that. Equality as a corporate insurance.
Exactly. And it also humanizes their workplace. Men benefit too. They get freedom to express emotion without being called weak, and they can share family roles without guilt.
True. My dad never took a day off for family, but maybe my generation can. Equality opens that door.
That's the beauty of it. Equality lifts everyone. It's not about women winning, it's about humanity upgrading.
Well said. Gender equality is like Wi-Fi. When it works, everyone's connect. But it doesn't everyone's very, very frustrated.
Exactly. And in 2025, the signal is finally getting stronger, but we still need to keep the router on.
So, what we've learned so far is that gender equality isn't just beneficial, it's essential.
Yeah,
It makes organization smarter.
it makes team kinder.
And it's our sleep better at night.
Coming up, we'll close these conversations with our reflections on how to keep equality real, not just rhetorical. All right, team. As we wrap up, let's each share one reflections. For me, this episode reminded me that gender equality isn't just a workplace policy, it's a communications practice. If we can listen without bias, if we can confirm instead of dismiss, that's equality in action.
Beautiful said. For me, equality means not having to fight for fairness every day. It's when respect becomes a reflect, not a reminder. And I'll be honest, being the only woman in this group is fun most of the time.
Hey, we tried. We didn't interrupt you this time.
Baby step, Mas Wahyu, baby step.
For me, gender equality benefit us by expanding our perspective. The moment we see it not as man versus woman, but as people working better together, we start to evolve. It's like Prof. Ong said, listening is empathy in action.
Simple. I learned that being funny doesn't mean being ignorant. We can talk about equality, laugh about it, and still respect it. And yes, I'll keep carrying chairs, but also share my responsibility.
This whole project made me realize how our class theories actually live in the real world. Verbal messages taught us that communications shape perceptions. Listening taught us that respect starts with silence.
And together, they teach us that equality isn't a buzzword. It's built one conversation at a time.
Yeah, gender equality is beneficial, not just for business metrics, but for our daily sanity.
It's the difference between a team that just work together and a team that understand each other.
And if there's one message we want to leave, it's this. Equality benefits everyone, but only if everyone participates.
To our classmates, keep questioning, keep listening, and please keep calling out mansplaining when you hear it.
That's it. But maybe let me finish my sentence first.
And of course, a big thank you to Professor Leonnard Ong for inspiring us to explore communication beyond theory. You didn't just teach us about talk, you taught us also about to listen, confirm, and connect.
Yeah, Prof. Thank you for trusting us with NEKAD Talks. We hope this project shows that humor and insight can coexist, and that even chaotic teams like us can produce something meaningful.
This has been NEKAD Talks, Ngobrol Edukatif, Kadang Agak Absurd.
educational conversation, sometimes a bit dramatic, but always with heart.
We hope this episode spark more honest conversation about gender equality in office, classroom, and yes, even in a chat group.
Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and remember, equality isn't about who's louder, it's about who's willing to understand. We are
We are
NEKAD.
NEKAD. Thanks for listening, and may all your workplace have more empathy and fewer mansplainers.
Bye-bye.